in 333. Yay, we made it through week one. And not just made it, you all kicked some butt. I love distance ed learning people because you're just more familiar with doing stuff online, and so many of you are parents that you tend to get stuff done because you only have a little bit of a window to get stuff done. So you do it, and it's really good. And I appreciate your intros and all the work that you're doing so far with the Lunsford and the Elias Scott piece. I read those this morning. I'll go back in and give feedback, but they look great. In case I hope you're watching the videos because I do think it'll help to explain some of the things in the course. But if you watched last week, I didn't have bookshelves, and now I have bookshelves. And oh my God, I'm in love with my bookshelves. So I ended up doing a little color coding, scaping thing here, and was able to get my children's books in the mix, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. My spouse, no spatial ability here. My spouse makes me robots every year for our anniversary or Valentine's Day. So I have like, I don't know, 30 robots. They're really cool because he's cool like that. And so I got to put some of those up. And so, yeah, I'm just feeling Pinterest AF up in here with my bookshelves. And man, having a space of your own, first of all, I know how lucky that is. And yeah, your space right now with all this online work needs to be okay. So coming up this week, let me say one thing before I do that, before I talk about this week. A couple of you have asked about how to comment on currents or just where, like a technical detail. And I just want to show you that where I'm hoping you'll comment is in this space right here. You'll see your image here. This space at the end of everybody's post where it says add a comment right here. Instead of resharing the post, because it makes the stream get a little unruly if you were to click on share, it'll let you write feedback, for example, to Brittany, but then we lose all the other comments that have been made on, say, for example, Brittany's post. So I'm hoping underneath here, add a comment or my post. And you can still add images or links or whatever. So that's a detail. You guys have been doing a great job with that. Don't forget that we're going to do that every time. Just think of it as you post one and then you comment on one. And the only time that's a kind of an issue is if you're first, and then sometimes you have to go back and wait till someone posts so you can say something nice to the other person. And as I said, I think it's a good practice as future teachers to get in the habit of giving feedback to each other on writing, because it's hard. And I got to do 31 of them, and you just have to do one for each one. It'll be great. And I love seeing you all talk to each other, so it'll help build community too. Okay, so this week, and a few of you have already done it, you're going to look at those mentor texts. And in this case, we have a little book chapter and a couple of poems from Jacqueline Woodson. Jacqueline Woodson's somebody you should know. Like, she's a children's book author that's won every possible award, and it's just someone you should know. In fact, this is great to use for the first day of school, the day you begin, because it's about being a little bit different when sometimes you don't always have the same stories as all the other kids in your class. And all of us have had moments when we have felt like awkward or an outsider, and it's a great way to introduce kids to everybody's got some different story to share. So Jacqueline Woodson, she's awesome. With these mentor texts, you are reading like a writer. So you're reading for the ideas and the themes and those things, but you're also reading as a writer to see how they did that writing. So where did they do a line break? What kinds of words did they use? When did they decide to do italics? When did they break stuff up? How do they start their story? So you're reading for like ways that you could borrow some of those structures or words or ways of organizing a poem, for example, in your own writing. And with little kids and big kids, it can be really helpful to point out to them, what's this writer doing? Like, what are they doing? And what could we use from their writing that we could do in ours? So that's what you're doing with the mentor text. That's due by Wednesday, midnight-ish. I will totally take it the next day. I'm just hoping we all try to stay on the same path so I can get things responded to in a timely fashion. And then we'll end the week, Labor Day, that Monday, with your first make, and a couple of them are already up there and they're great. I want to point out one thing here. So Carolee and Lori have already shared theirs. So, and they're one of each, like one's a poem and one's a story jumper. And these are great. So I appreciate you all trying out this story jumper thing too. So all there, good to go. I'm going to remind you when you go to post your make and you have some, if you don't want to do story jumper or a poem, you can write a short story. There's a lot of things you could do. Just let me know. You should like it. You should like creating these makes. And so if you don't like it, then we should do something else. Like you could ask me, can I do this instead? And I will always say, yep, no problem. I'm going to remind you that one of the things after you share your make, and then you're going to remember to write a brief reflection on it, explaining what you were trying to do and the techniques and processes you used in creating it. So what I'm going for here in these little descriptions, like you upload your make and then you describe, sometimes your make won't work out in the way that you'd hoped. You were like, man, I had a much better picture in my head than what this ended up looking like. And so that reflection is a place for you to say, well, what I was going for, here's what got in my way. Here's what did work. Here's what I would do. So it's a place for you to kind of just explain what you were trying to do with this make and what worked and what you're happy with and maybe what didn't. So, paragraph reflecting. Sometimes they'll be a little longer. So just remember that. So yeah, mentor texts, which I hope you'll enjoy. Those will always be some sort of a children's book. And your makes. Story Jumper, if you decide to use it, and you'll have lots of times this semester to try it out. It's great with little kids because they can read their stories, and oh my God, there's nothing like a little kid voice reading their story, right? There's a little joy for you right there. So yeah, I think that's it for this week. I will post Make Cycle 2, which is an actual deep dive into storytelling kind of structures. I think I'll post it a little bit earlier than I said. I was going to do it Friday night, but I think I'll do it Thursday just because a few of you are ready to go. I hate to do it too soon because I'd like us to keep on a similar pace. So I think I'll post it Thursday. It's ready to go. I just need to release it. And then make sure you got your book because we're going to start reading it next week. And I'll reach out and make sure you're all set for that about the authors. Thanks for all the hard work you're doing. Appreciate you all.